Hi everyone, it's Heidi here from the Nest Kids CPR and Allergy, and I'm just coming to you today with a brief live about flu or influenza. So obviously we're in the midst of the flu season and it's been pretty bad this year so far. Over at Sydney Children's, where I am the clinical nurse specialist over there at the Children's Hospital 2 days a week, as well as running the Nest, and we've seen a lot of cases over there of flu already with the children. So I had my injection, I don't know if you can see, but anyway, I had my injection 2 days ago, and I'll be taking my son to have his as well. So I want to go through some of the questions people ask, the symptoms, what it is, and etc. And also with pregnant women, because I know that the Nest has an audience of pregnant women as well. So I'll go through that. And I have some notes just below me here. So if you see me keep looking down, that's why. I just don't want to miss anything. And if you don't catch this live, then this will be going on our Facebook page over at the Nest, so that you can catch it another time. Okay. So flu, to start with, is a virus. So it's not a bacterial infection. So it won't be fixed with antibiotics. A virus needs to just let the course run. Let it run its course through your system and, come out the other side. So sometimes the symptoms of flu cause us needing to have types of medication if it gets particularly bad. But by and large, it is definitely a virus and does not respond to antibiotics. It is not the common cold. So the common cold has some, very obvious symptoms of runny nose and just feeling generally a bit bunged up. But the flu is very much not that. The flu is very debilitating. And I can actually proudly say that I've never had the flu. I think that's probably more luck than judgment. It could be something to do with the fact that I grew up in a household full of people who were healthcare workers or worked with children, and they were always covered. So maybe I was protected. I don't know. Anyway, I've never had the flu. Considering I work in an environment with sick kids, I think this is very lucky, and I've got 2 kids and never had it. So this is a good thing. However, I have treated flu and I have seen it in young children. So unfortunately, I can't come from the stance of actually having it, so I can't sympathise. But the symptoms of flu are obviously fever and chills. So people can feel like they're burning up and can often shake a little. This could be, this could cause a febrile convulsion in children because of if the fever reaches goes up very high very quickly. But also that they, at the same time, they can feel very chilly because their fever's so high, it actually makes them feel a bit cold. So often a symptom will be the cough and a sore throat, and a runny and a very stuffed up nose, muscle aches and joint pains. This is a big one. Often that's what people with flu say is the biggest. It's just the worst symptom is the pain of it. Headaches and fatigue. So people can be completely fatigued, but more than tired, just completely wiped out, and actually struggle to walk from one place to the next, in the house. So fatigue is a big one as well. Nausea, vomiting and diarrhea. And this is more common in children than it is in adults. So that's a big one as well. So a question that we get asked a lot at our classes is, how long does the flu last? So with the flu, you're often contagious before the symptoms come out, like a day or so. And then once the symptoms present themselves, with adults, they're normally contagious for 3 to 5 days. And with children, it can be 7 to 10 days. And with immunocompromised people, it can be longer than that. And that's people whose immune system doesn't work properly for whatever reason. Maybe they have an illness, or they're on medication that their immune system isn't working properly. So when you have the flu, it's extremely infectious. It's very, very contagious, so easy to catch, because it's spread by droplets, and droplets that have been, someone sneezed and it's landed on the handrail that you're about to touch. So it's droplet related. So any cough, sneeze, any droplet that comes out of you from a symptom of flu, and of course we know that flu makes us sneeze and makes us cough, then those droplets are infectious. So very, very easy to get. So as I've said, the adults and children infection time is slightly different. So the flu vaccine, which is available in most places now, is free if your child is between 6 months old and under 5. So I will be taking my son to get his tomorrow. And by the flu jab is not just about you protecting yourself and your child. It's about you protecting all the others around you as well. As a nurse at the hospital, over the years, I've seen some really awful preventable diseases, like whooping cough, for instance, is a big one, that could just be prevented, by other people around these children having a vaccination. I once resuscitated a baby, 16 times in one shift with a respiratory resuscitation because she had whooping cough and she was too young for the vaccine. So the parents couldn't have vaccinated her yet because she was too young, and she had been visited by a family member who had been in contact with whooping cough. So you're not just protecting you, you're protecting the people around you as well. It's also free for some vulnerable demographics as well. So when your child has the flu or even just a cold, we need to teach them to be coughing into their sleeve or into their arm if we can, because or in a tissue, but throw that tissue away and wash your hands. So it needs to be caught. We don't really want to be spreading it everywhere. I know that sounds really obvious, but the crook of the arm is a very easy thing to be able to teach your child to do. And keep hand washing, obviously, to a maximum. And I know this is very obvious stuff, but it's what people don't do, which is why it spreads. So what we can tell you is, I just don't want to miss anything here. Let me make sure. Yeah. So what we can tell you is that the flu vaccination is actually been proven to be around about 66% efficient. Okay. So that means that it has a 66% chance of you kind of, not getting the flu. So often the flu vaccinations are made up of the flu that they had last season, because obviously the flu strains are very clever and they change all the time, which is why there's a different flu shot every year, because they always look slightly different. But yeah, at the moment the efficacy rate is 66%, which is pretty good. If your child has never had a flu jab before, they will most of the time need 2 injections 1 month apart to give them that immunity. And then after that, if your child has already had a flu vaccine, then they'll just have 1 per year like everyone else. Okay. In Australia, more children under 5 are hospitalised with flu than they are with whooping cough. So it's a big one. And of those children that are hospitalised with the flu in Australia, 10% of them will end up in intensive care. Okay, so it is a thing that we see in the hospital all the time. And I've also seen it in my friends recently. I've had lots of friends whose children have actually been swabbed and had influenza A. So it's definitely something we need to be taken seriously. And the vaccine is readily available and free for the 6 month to under 5s. Okay, there are studies to show, like maybe this is what happened with me, I don't know, but there are studies to show that a child in the family that is vaccinated can help protect the rest of the family. So like I said, it's not just about you or your child, it's about the rest of the wider people that child comes in contact with. Fever and injection site redness is quite common after a flu vaccination. Obviously, if it drags on for days and days, or the site becomes very, very hot and large, then it probably needs to get seen. But there is an element of normal to that after your child has had a flu vaccination. And just as a side note, when your child is sick with the flu or suspected flu, then keep them at home. Don't send them into childcare where it's going to spread like wildfire. We all know what hand, foot and mouth does, or chicken pox. But also, don't try and, this goes with any illness that your child has, don't try and feed them if they're not hungry and they don't want food. Fluid is essential. They always need to be drinking. But don't try and feed your child if they're not feeling like it. Okay, they will be fine. They will catch up when they're you know, when they're better. If they're young babies, then just small regular milk feeds or breastfeeds are sufficient. But if your child is on solids, please don't make them eat it. Your body is already trying to fight something, and if you add that in, that needs to digest something as well, that's another system that it's using all this energy, and often they'll just vomit because the body just can't handle it. Sometimes the body can see that substance as an invader, and actually it can help towards allergies, as in create an allergy. So just don't force your child to eat if they're not hungry and they're ill. They will catch up, and it just has a really negative effect because your body can't do too many things at once. So let your body concentrate on fighting that virus, and don't force any food down. Fluids essential, but not food when they're really sick like that. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful today. Just talking a bit about the flu there. I'm going to write a blog post about this as well, and I'll attach the New South Wales Health guidelines and some bits there that you can have a look at too. And if you haven't yet booked a class with the Nest Kids CPR and Allergy, then we have public classes that we run at the Children's Clinic in Bondi Junction, and watch this space for other public classes as well around the Sydney area. And also we do in-home classes. So if you have a group of 6 or more people where you want to do an in-home class, we will come to your home and do the class in-home. Okay, we also do private couples classes as well. So if you are just a 1 person or 2 person or 3 of you and you want to join a public class, then the Children's Clinic, we've got one on the 31st of May. There will be many other dates as well. So book in today if you haven't already, and we can't wait to see you. We'd love to see you in a class. You'll learn all sorts. If you just look on the Facebook page or the blog, you can see a good rundown of what you'll learn in our classes, and they're really good fun. And I actually find that the question and answer session, where other parents are asking questions as well, is almost one of the most interesting and beneficial parts of the classes. So anyway, I'll leave you be. Take care. Any comments or questions, just pop them below, or you can send us an email at help@thenestcpr.com. In the meantime, have a lovely afternoon. Bye bye.